So in setting up our galley with our nice big sink and our new faucet, works great, love it. We got a lot of stuff that we need to keep out and accessible. Coffee, tea, coffee filters, fresh waters, fruits, dog bowls. This is a great corner to store all that stuff. But there's a problem. When you start to travel, what are you going to do with all that stuff? The minute you pull away and hit the brakes once, whew, all that stuff's going to come flying out of that great corner. So here's the quick interim step that I came up with. I put a small C-clamp on the end of this raised countertop. You can see back here, this whole great storage area is on its own raised countertop above the main countertop. So I can slip my cutting board under there. So what I had to do, and this was a quickie fix so we could get going on our trip, I have to rearrange these things to a certain degree. Now believe me, the way I operate, this is not optimal, right? Not optimal. But it did serve the purpose on this first trip. I open this door, I hook onto that C-clamp, and I come around with a bungee, and I hooked onto the bathroom door. Now nothing can come sliding forward. Okay, like I said, this is temporary, and it'll never happen again. The next time you see this great storage corner, it's going to have a nice little curb, a little apron across the front, so everything will stay back there. Now this leads me to my next issue with this camper. Look at this over here. Look at these blinds. These blinds deliver a beautiful light coming through when the sun is setting on this side of the camper, right? They're too hard to keep clean. They collect dust. Every one of these things has got to be cleaned with some kind of a feather fork kind of a thing. I'm not doing that. And they're very, very delicate. So you could dent them or bend them while you're trying to clean them. Not so easy. I think I'm going to replace these with black, light, tight blinds. I can still put them up in that little valance here, which I like. I use this valance as a shelf, as you can see. It has its place. And I'm using command strips, which leads me to my third realization on this 4th of July camping trip to Cape May. Command strips. They're everywhere. Command strips. Command strips. Command strips. Command strips. Even that big print is hanging on command strips. Yes, it is acrylic. It's not glass. I had the framer take care of that. But I still can't believe that these command strips are holding all this stuff up. I never had faith in command strips. I'm the kind of guy, through bolt, wood screw. What would I say is next? Command strips. Through bolt, wood screw, glue, command strips. It's kind of like when you're in a supermarket, the order of healthiness: fresh, jar, can, box. Fresh, jar, can, box. Through bolt, wood screw, glue, command strip. But I'm using them and they work. They haven't failed. I've gone through a winter with these things and now I'm into the summer. They're not failing. I learned something. That's a good girl. That's my pup. Oh, I know. You both need some loving, huh? I know. You're scraping my microphone. I'll be done in a minute and we'll go for a walk, okay? Okay. New sink. I had to cut the drawer. You see this? The drawer used to come all the way out to here. But now that my new sink encroached on the drawer space, I had to shorten the drawer box and put in a new guide rail for it. But I left the drawer face in place. Now, one thing I'm going to say about this camper. It's a Springdale by Keystone. It's not a high-end model, okay? It's actually at the bottom of the rung. But considering it's where it is in the trim lineup, there's a lot of nice stuff in here. I like this little camper. But the way they mounted these drawer glides, whew, not good, not good. So I'm going to have to do a little work to this galley. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to remove these drawer glides. And you see there's a little stile in between each of the drawers, right? I'm going to cut those away to save them, cut them away, and now I'm left with this big opening. Now I can build a 1/2-inch carcass box that will slide into that opening with all my drawer glides on the side of it, okay? That's going to serve me two purposes. I realized that with these stiles in place, I can't get in there so easily to work on the sink or this heater. You know, there's another access over here. There's another drawer. But again, with the stiles, I can't get back there like I can in my vans. So I've become spoiled with the way I do things. That should go over just a little bit. So now that'll leave me with a nice big box that I can slide out and have full access. I'll be able to crawl in there if I wanted to. So that's number one. Number two is this cabinet over here. Let me move your camera. I know. You're a good girl. You're a good pup. We're going to go out. This cabinet, okay, it's deep. It goes all the way back across the countertop here. But you can't get at anything in the back. You got to lay down on your belly to look what's going on back there. No good. So here's what I'm going to do here. You'll open the cabinet and I'll have a pull-out tray, top and bottom, obviously with sides so nothing falls out. More drawer glides, pull-out trays. So now we can get at this stuff from here instead of digging back in here. I don't know what's in it. I don't know. I can't find it. A while ago, I took this door. Can you see me? A while ago, I took this door off. It was similar to this one because this is a great little corner compartment for my garbage pail, right? Recycling, and then out the door it goes. I just put the garbage pail in there. Open the door, garbage, close the door, open the door, close the door. Whoa. Too much work. Get the door off. We don't need it. So I've used it this way for quite a while. It works great. But now I've got another plan for this little compartment. Wait till you see this. Look at this. You know what this is? You know what this is, Penny? I know. Did that clap scare you? I know. You're a good girl. Look at Molly. Molly's over here too. All right. A dishwasher. It's AC. It's 120 volt AC. But I'm going to test this out. I saw this online. I said, holy crap. I think this thing might be viable for a camper. Maybe a van. Look how cute this is. It's a tiny little dishwasher. Now, you know there's an unwritten rule when you're RVing that if you're a couple traveling, you keep 2 plates, 2 cups, 2 mugs, 2 forks, 2 knives. You don't bring a full service for 6 or 12. It's understood. Even chairs outside. You bring chairs for you. Everyone else has their own. It's an unwritten rule. We all know. I'm going to test this out. What I like about this, I'll bring this over. I'll show you. Oh, this is the water supply. You fill this with water, okay? This is the amount of water needed to do your dishes and rinse them. And then the other unique feature with this thing is it doesn't have a heating element to dry and sanitize your dishes. It uses UV light, which is very efficient. It is 120 volt, so you do have to plug it in. You need shore power. You need a generator. You need a good inverter. Like I said, later on today, June and I are going to test this thing and see how it works, and I'll report back to you. But it's not, it's, you know, they call it a portable dishwasher. See? So we'll see how it works. Since we were going to be staying in a campground in a resort area for a week, you know you don't want to go out to the local supermarkets. You don't want to have to buy things in a resort area. They cost too much. So we wanted to bring all the food we needed for a week's stay. We overloaded for sure. But we wanted to treat ourselves right and make a few really nice meals outside under the awning. So I brought along one of these new electric coolers that I'm putting in my mini-me's and my midi-me's. I used to put in the Dinette CFX 25. Great cooler, really nice. They're almost $1,000 now. I've mentioned this in a previous video. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if this is worth $1,000. So I did some research. I saw what other offerings were out there. And this one kept popping up with really good reviews. This is the F40. This is a very catchy name. The F40 C4 TMP. It just rolls off the tongue. It's a little bit bigger. It's a 40-quart cooler instead of 25, right? And it's AC DC. Right now I've got it set for 36 degrees as a refrigerator. Nice and cold. Keep our drinks cold, our yogurts cold. Very quiet. I don't ever hear it running. The Dinette were very good as well. But this one was $280 or so. The Dinette are $980. So, you know what? I always like to give my clients the best of the best, without question. But I think they went over the line. I'm going to see what's going on with these coolers. So I put one of these in each of my last two mini-me's that went out. Jean and Becky, you gals, give me a report on what's going on with your C40 C4TMP coolers. I have one that I bought myself to test. So on this trip, while we were traveling, how am I going to power this thing? I don't have the battery capacity in my camper to plug it in. I had my refrigerator running on propane. So I brought along my Delta 2. This is an EcoFlow Delta 2. This is the small one. This is 1,280 watt hours. 1,280 watt hours. 2,400 watt inverter. 1,280 watt hours. I bought this on Amazon during a fire sale, whatever they call it. Since then, now I own this one. Since then, EcoFlow sent me the new Delta 2 because I got to thinking once I started using this thing, I'm going to use this in my truck camper. You know, I'm going out on the beach, tent camping in the truck on the beach. You'll see. But I bought this for that endeavor. That's going to power my cooker and my air conditioner, all that. You'll see. I brought this along. So I charged it up to 100%. I plugged in my cooler the night before we left, so it was cold with water in it. I put some thermal mass in there, turned it on, it ran 12 hours. So now this has been sitting here. This cooler has been running at 36, 38 degrees off of this EcoFlow. And I said, well, let me see. Let's see how far I can run this thing down before I have to charge it up again. So it came in at 53 hours. Like I said, this is a 1,280 or 1,260 watt hour. At full power, 100% charge, this was already cold. I got 53 hours off this battery to keep that thing running. And of course, we're using it, you know, open and close. So then obviously we're here in a campground. I can plug it in and it will charge as well as pass current through it. So while I was recharging this, I was still running the cooler. Pretty nice. This thing charged up in 2 hours. 2 hours. It went from 10% all the way up to 100%. It's a little bit heavy. They sent me, I didn't finish that story, did I? They sent me the larger version, which is, I guess, 2,200 watt hours. Again, 2,400 watt inverter, but double the capacity, basically. And I sent my kids off with that one. My youngest, Alyssa, she's my wild child. She's got that wanderlust in her heart like her dad. My daughter and her fiance bought a fifth wheel. They're now out. They're about 4 weeks out on the road full time in their fifth wheel. Right now they're in Montana, but they took a northern route and they hit the Dakotas. They're in Montana. A lot of great stories have come back already. First 4 weeks, dodging storms. I mean, it's been an experience, but that's what full timing on the road's all about. I digress. I gave them the EcoFlow, the bigger one. So what they do is, again, when you buy a new fifth wheel, this one's a reflection from Grand Design, they don't power you up with much battery capacity. So they've got a stinky little like 90 amp hour AGM battery. So they got a Champion generator, propane generator. You saw me doing a hush box for that Champion propane generator because we each bought one. So during the day, they run their coach on the Champion generator because they don't have an inverter, they have nothing. Okay, so they're plugging their shore power into the Champion 30 amp inverter. Quiet hours come, they unplug from the Champion inverter and they plug into their EcoFlow and it gets them through the night. So they're living in a fifth wheel and that EcoFlow gets them through the night. So this is one thing that I'm going to start talking about is in terms of power and energy, you don't just go and buy a big ass battery. You have to have a repertoire of energy components. That's right, I said repertoire. And this has a good place in it. Doesn't have to be EcoFlow. Bluetti is another brand I like. Just be aware of the battery type they're putting in these units. Like the old Jackeries, I think they have a much shorter lifespan. I think they're denser capacity, but shorter lifespan, fewer cycles. EcoFlow, Bluetti. So we're going to be doing more testing with that because EcoFlow has got my ear now. And there's a couple of things I'm going to be testing for them. I am getting those things for free. Not this, but I will be upfront about that. But this has piqued my interest. I think it has a place in the overall energy scheme of your travel trailer, your van, whatever it is you're doing. And while I'm down here, I figured I'd show you another brainstorm I got. Look at this storage space under the bench in the dinette on each side. Okay, wide open storage. Yeah, take the cushions off, take out the plywood. That's too much work. So you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in a drawer. Molly, you got to stop snoring. I'm trying to do a video here. I'm going to put a drawer here, okay? Now, there's a few things I got to be careful of. Things I've got to concern myself with. The weight that the slide is able to accommodate, okay? The weight of whatever gets put in these storage drawers on each side, the weight of the people sitting in the bench seats for a meal, playing cards or a game. The other thing you got to really worry about is when the slide is in, you should never get in it. Never sit in a slide that's closed. Unless you have that sanction from your builder, your manufacturer. Certain slides are built stout enough that you can sit in them when the slide is closed. But most manufactured slides, think about this. This is a box, an inner box that sets into an outer box. And when they are together, that's where they get their strength from. The minute you start closing a slide, it's going to get wonky because it doesn't have its outer frame to support itself within. You got that? So you bring that in and all of a sudden you start to rack the box, too much weight. So I've got to look into that. Maybe I don't do a full depth drawer. Maybe I just do half depth. Another concern is if this proves to be a viable addition to the camper and I want to leave this cooler here, then that drawer has to be able to slide over it. There's no way I'm going to want to move this every time I want to get in that drawer. So I would be giving up a couple of inches in depth, which is fine. We still have a decent sized drawer here for shoes, clothing, whatever. Now look what's going on over here. Look at this. Look. This area, look at this space. This area is begging for a wine rack, wouldn't you say? What tipped you off? Anyway, this piece of wood trim that my zebra is hanging on. That's part of the slide frame. That goes in and out with the slide. So a wine rack would have to be mounted or rest on, there's this little carpet lip that goes all the way around the dinette box. So it would set on the lip and we'd fasten it to the back of this dinette box. So it comes in and out with the slide, okay? So I've got to design that wine rack. How do I do that? Do I keep it simple? Do I use 80-20? Do I make a really slick side-mounted 80-20 with cradles for the wine bottles? Do I make a nice plywood edge-banded circular holes with PVC tunnels to hold the bottle? What do I do? You got any ideas? I know you got ideas. Give me some ideas in the comments. How do we build this wine rack?